soaring higher than the sky. Dreams so big, she's learning to fly. Family by her side, a twinkle in her eye. Building her empire, waving down goodbye. Pretty smart, and she's on a roll. Heart on fire, got an unshakable goal. Dreams of family, she's got the mix just right. Rising like the sun, burning so bright.
Hello and welcome to Pretty Smart Business. I am your host, Sheena White. And today we have a very special guest, Debbie Simmons. Debbie is a nonprofit CEO, business coach, and author of The Heart of Legacy. After losing her quadruplets, she adopted 9 children and founded Anchor Point, a Christ-centered nonprofit serving thousands. Through Debbie Simmons LLC, she equips women to move from chaos to clarity and lead with purpose, presence, and legacy. With 20 years experience in leadership, Debbie believes legacy is built not in perfection, but in faithful, intentional steps each day. Welcome to the show, Debbie!
Hi.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Okay. So much to even unpack in that. 9 children. What?
Yes, 9. Yes. We have fun. They're a little older now. We're on to grandkids, which is even better.
Okay. Okay. So then, this might be hard to talk about, but it's in your bio. So did you have quadruplets, or you were still like carrying them and you lost them? Tell me about that.
Oh, sure. So I think that would be probably one of the biggest challenges that I've ever gone through is that we were diagnosed originally with twins, and then I attempted to miscarry and then found out that there was 4. And as we went through that process, our goal was to make it to 30 weeks. We at 26 weeks, my water broke, and they took me to the hospital and said I would stay as long as I could. And then the next morning, one of the boys pushed their hand through my stitched cervix and said they're coming. And so we had to deliver the first child, and they put Zach in my arms, and he passed away. And then they waited to see how my body would do, and my body just freaked out, and I had a really high fever and couldn't carry the other kids. So they induced the other 3, and then they put them in my arms, and they passed into eternity.
Oh, that's so sad. It's especially sad because I'm assuming, so you said that you adopted the kids after, and they now have kids of their own. So that means that this was many moons ago.
Yeah, many moons ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nowadays, 26, 27 weeks, like there's kids that live.
Yes. Yes. So really the truth is that medical technology just was not available 30 plus years ago to save those boys. And I have a grandchild that's born at 23 weeks and is doing great. It would be different if it was several moons later.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, medical technology is crazy every single day. But I love how you turned your pain and made it your purpose, and then decided to adopt a whole bunch of kids, because that's amazing. I have 3 children, and the thought of 9 kind of freaks me out a lot.
Yeah, I get it. At some point, there's just so many, it doesn't really matter. What's one more? We already have baseball team, and it's good. So
that's what my sister-in-law says. She has 5, and she's like, so I'm like, oh, yeah. Everyone's like, have another. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm cool. My son does hockey, so I can't afford another.
That's right. Yeah, it is expensive.
Right? I'm like, do you know the price of food? Okay, so take us back to when you first decided to start Anchor Point. Was that because of this thing with your kids, or was it something else?
Let me tell you the thing that I walked away and learned from losing the boys is in that night in the hospital, I had to figure out, like, I'm a girl that can accomplish whatever I set my mind to.
Yeah.
And I had this desire to have children, have grandchildren, and I can't figure out how to make this happen. And this is years and years. And I'm sitting there going, okay, now I got lots of pain. I don't know what to do. And I could figure out nowhere else to turn but to God and say, okay, God, you just have to help me figure my way through this. And the question that rises up in me in hard situations is, why me? Why now? Why God? Why this? And I just had to learn to lay down my why question, because my why question was a stuck question. It's like nobody could have told me a good answer. Nobody could have eased my pain, returned the boys, done anything like that. So there was no answer that would satisfy. And so I had to lay down the why question, and I had to ask a different one. And the different question that I learned to ask was, how do I survive? Because that is a question. It's okay, I need to breathe. Breathing is good. And if you're breathing, you're still alive. And then the next best step, whatever that is for me at that moment, or whatever it is for the person, what is some next best step I could do? Even if it's small, just what could I do? And then the next best step, and then the next best step. And then that worked me through healing on my journey. And it's somewhere in there on that healing process, it became a different question. And the next question was, how do I thrive? And the how do I thrive question opened up like all these doors to, one, redeem that story, and also just create opportunity for me to have impact. So, working with women who had lost children, grief groups, leading us into adopting the 9 children. And then eventually, God just planted the seed that, hey, I want you to start this ministry. And I was like, okay. And so I ventured into that. And that impacts thousands of people each year. And then writing the book. So all these things happen as I went through that difficult thing of losing the boys, but learning to ask those questions. In all my 32 years since then, I use those questions all the time, whether I'm a CEO or whether I'm doing some entrepreneurial stuff or a mom or whatever. Those questions are things that just resonate. And so it was those opportunities that created the opportunity for me to do Anchor Point, because I never really ever even contemplated doing something like that. So,
I think that happens a lot in our journeys, right? Like for me, what I do now, like if you had told me 20 years ago when I was in college, oh, in 20 years, you're going to be a fractional CFO and you're going to be a business coach, I would have been like, what? No names
yeah.
after, yeah? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then all the things happen, and you're like, oh man, I found this thing and I really like it. And I really like it. It's everything that I was made to do. So,
Mhm.
and sometimes there's difficult things that happen in there that point you that direction. I didn't lose any children, but I did have my accountant embezzle all my money for 3 years.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Mhm. And you would end up with the same question, why me? Then you have to lay that down. And how do I figure my way
yeah.
now? And then how can I thrive out of all this? So it's the same questions that I just find are not really complex, but they're super helpful.
Yeah. And I think that because I'm a domestic violence survivor too, and
Mhm.
it's easy to fall into that like why me trap.
Mhm.
But to me, that's a really disempowered
Mhm.
thing. So it's, yeah, I can ask why me all the time, but then I like to think of it as like why, like instead of like why me, but more like why me? Why, what is this trying to teach me or show me,
Mhm.
or so
Yeah.
that I can help others? Like, why did I go through this? What is the purpose that I can make from it?
Yeah.
It's
And
the same question, just different
that's a
context.
powerful way to look at it, to be different. But when we're in the middle of it, like when we're stuck, that's when we just turn very inward, and it can be a very stifling question for us.
Yeah. When people get stuck there, and um and I know people who have been other abuse victims and stuff like that that have been out of abuse for a really long time, and I
Mhm.
feel like mentally though they're still there.
Mhm. Yep. And that was my question. Like when I got to the how do I thrive? It's I want to live. I want to have joy. I
Hmm.
want to be able to smile. I want to figure out kids. I want grandkids. And it is those other questions that give you the power of movement, and the power of movement even in small increments. And I tell people, I go, I'm not some like great mature. I'm like, my first next best steps were pulling the cover off of my head, getting out of the bed and brushing my teeth, and then getting back in the bed, because that was it. And so for all of us, I go,
Hmm.
all of our steps are different. And it's the other thing to remember, it's not the next right step, because the right step will freeze you too, because you're going, I wonder if it's really the right thing, or should I go this way? But the reality is, just move, just do something, and the doors will open and close, like you said, and it will change maybe what your original plans were. I'm a mechanical engineer by nature. Why am I running a nonprofit and writing books? But that's where God has me, and that's been a great fit.
Hmm. Yeah. Engineers are smart.
Yeah, I can figure it out, put it in a spreadsheet. I'm
Right.
good. Oh.
So, so tell me more about turning point. So what exact or anchor point, sorry, not turning point. Anchor point. What do you guys like what's the mission?
Sure. Our goal is to really lift the tide of parenting, is the way I like to say it. So it's to break cycles, it's to come alongside our girls. We start with a family network of services. So we have a medical clinic where we work with young ladies who have found themselves, they're pregnant, they don't know what to do, they're overwhelmed, they're scared, and they just need people to love them and walk alongside them and go, I need you to breathe, and we're going to figure out the next best step, and let them see the baby. And then we move them over to our Hope Family Center, which is where we do life on life or case management. And we look at, like, how are you doing emotionally? How are you doing physically? How are you doing spiritually? How are you doing material assistance? Do you need those types of things? What about a job? What do we need to do so that you can work your way through? And you have children, I have children. They don't
Hmm.
come with
Hmm.
instruction manuals. They are the instruction manuals. And these girls and young guys don't have a clue. And so they need people just linking arms with them and saying, okay, come on, we're going to help you. And we can't do it for you, but we'll
Hmm.
do it with you. And then we have another branch that is a maternity home, which is for girls that are homeless. And we work with them for about 18 months to get them through their pregnancy, get job skills that they need, and to get employment so that they can be self sufficient. And then we do our community initiatives, which are all kinds of training classes and therapeutic camps for families who have adopted or have children that are struggling, and then recovery groups for abortion recovery, sexual abuse, trauma, any types of things like that that people are struggling with, so that they can get some freedom and really take themselves to the next level. So it really, let's take care of the parents, let's lift them up, let's educate them, let's love on them, let's empower them, so that the family is stronger, because we know our communities are only as strong as our weakest families. And so this is an opportunity to do that. And we've been blessed to do that for about 15 years now.
I love it. I love it. It's funny you say that babies don't come with instruction manuals. I was 28 when I had my first child, and I still did not know what I was doing.
Yes. I tell people it's one of the a few things that you can do with no like training.
They're just like,
So
here you go. And I'm
yeah,
like,
take this.
what is this? They're like, it's your child. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, cool. What do I do with it?
yeah. Take this
he's
human being. Yeah.
he's 12 now. So I got him this far. I joke around that I think birthdays, we should actually celebrate the parents because
Yeah.
we kept them alive 365 more days. Like, what did the kid do?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Like, I deserve
That's why
cake,
I have a birthday month.
right? I deserve a party when they have
Yeah.
a birthday. Yeah, I did it. One more
Yeah.
year. You are alive.
That's funny. That's good. I'm gonna try and adopt that. I'll see how that works over here. So
Like, I'm the one who deserves cake, okay?
yeah.
On
Mhm.
my own birthday, what did I do? I just continued existing. Like,
Yeah.
your birthday, I worked hard for that.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking on, you do stuff with women too. So through Debbie Simmons LLC. So like leadership training and stuff like that. So tell me more about that and how you got into that mode.
Sure. I will tell you that I've been training people forever because whether it starts in the home or it starts with the work in the ministry that we do, and also like the families that we work with, working with those families. So I've had just a ton of opportunities to do that. And so we are just expanding that to go, okay, how can Debbie have even more influence? And so coaching and walking alongside business owners and other ministry leaders to
Mhm.
just help them figure their way. Sometimes all we need, and I know you know this as a coach, is people that can like let us talk and reframe everything and give us good questions to percolate on so that we can figure our way. Because
Yeah.
usually, as CEOs and executives or entrepreneurs, you just got it all in your head, right? And it's
Mhm.
all, and it seems like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. And then somebody says, why don't you write down your list? And I write down my list and there's 4 things on it. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. So I think that is one of the fun things that I do get to do is come alongside people and watch them grow businesses and expand what they're doing and impact that they're making. And that's a lot of fun to be able to do that now that I've gotten a little older and wiser. I can do that. So this has been a new branch that also allows us to create opportunity and awareness of Anchor Point in different circles. And that's important to us too. So
I love it. Yeah, I always say as a coach, like, I just want to be a mirror, right?
mhm,
And to really just show people themselves in a different way, right? Because a mirror is actually inverted.
right. Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm like, okay, I can take it and invert it so you can see yourself differently and see the path differently, then it'll seem easier. Like you were saying, like just write down the
Yeah.
list and then you're like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I can't handle it. And then you write down the 3 things. You're like, oh, that will
Yeah.
take me 10 minutes. Why was I freaking out over this? You
Yeah. So
know?
it's good to have that balance. And I
Hmm.
think, having safe people that can do that or having coaches that you get, whatever you need to do is a lot of times we don't want to do those things. One, it creates a level of accountability. We think, oh, maybe it's going to cost too much or whatever. But the time that we lose in being unproductive because we're just walking around with it all in our head, we could just be hitting the road making and meeting milestones if we could just take that time. And it won't seem like it cost anything by the time you're done because you will have made money galore.
Right.
So,
Like my clients have a tendency of doubling their business when we work together. So it's like, how long does it usually take to double your business versus 6 months
yeah.
to a year of us
Mhm.
working together? So there's, I look at it as an investment.
Yes, very much.
I never don't have a coach because I need
Yes.
somebody to talk
Yes.
to that has been where I want to go. So I can be like,
Yeah.
am I? Because I'm like way too neurotic.
Yeah.
Like,
There you
am
go.
I
It's always good to have those safe people who I like to say, like when we're training parents, I just tell them, I'm like, okay, look, this is just all the wisdom so that you can just get it right the first time. So you don't have to get the gray hairs and you can go for it. And they're like, oh, okay. And so I'm like, do this, try this, do this. This is going to get you through it. And so I just think that's the way life is meant to be. People reach back and pulled me along through the years. And
Mhm,
I
mhm.
get to do that for other people and sometimes catapult them way ahead of me. And I'm like, okay, now I can learn from you. So that's a good thing.
Right? Yeah, lived
Mhm,
experience is huge.
mhm.
People listening might be in the middle of their messy chapter. What's something you'd say to them about the value of that moment?
The first thing I would say is keep breathing because it is going to pass. You will figure all of our growth opportunities generally come because we go through something. So it may not lift or go away, but we go through it. And there's just, like you said earlier, things to keep going, changing your mindset of how can I use this? And why is this the purpose of what I'm in right now? And so I just say, breathe, take a break, go take a walk, come back, get safe people in your life that can love on you and encourage you and even challenge you when you need to be challenged. Because I could have easily stayed stuck. And I needed people who loved me enough to just poke me periodically and go, you can do this. You can do
Mhm.
this. And so I would just say it will pass. It always does. And staying faithful, staying true to the course, you're going to get through it. You
Yeah.
will see a bright day someday soon. So,
It reminds me of, okay, so do you watch Downton Abbey?
no, I've seen a couple, but not all of them.
So
Mhm.
in season 4, because at the very
Okay.
end of season 3, because one of the main characters wasn't coming back, they had to kill him off. It was totally lame. So they had to
Mm,
kill off Matthew. I
yeah.
died. And so Mary, this is the big love story, is Matthew and Mary. So then in season 4, obviously she just had, and literally the day that they had their baby, he died. So that's it.
Oh,
It was really
yeah,
bad.
that's really bad. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, terrible. And so she's like dealing with this, and they show like her grief process. Like they skip ahead 6 months. They show like this, she's still like in this grief process. She can't move forward, and her dad's, we need to, basically we need to coddle her. We need to put bubble wrap around her, and the butler is the one who's, no, we need to bring her back. And so it's like this whole thing. And so when you were talking about stuff, I was like, oh, this
Mhm.
reminds me of Mary in season
Yes.
4.
Yes.
You need a Carson in your life to be like, come on, let's do it. And then the grandmother and the butler like help her come back to the land of the living.
Mhm.
Because it's
Yeah.
like,
And to get
yeah.
this will to live, right? I
Mhm.
mean, in that scenario, when you've got a loss of a loved one, it's very hard, and you don't really want to feel like you want to go on without that. And but there can still be joy again. So hang in there.
Yeah. Yeah. No matter how yucky it feels, there can still be that next thing.
Mhm.
So, what is one next best step someone could take today, even a tiny one, to move from surviving to building something meaningful?
Oh, that's good. I would say one of the most powerful things I think is getting our thoughts out of our head onto the paper so we can get rid of what is emotional things that are playing into it, and then we get facts down, and then go take a break, go walk around the block, go pump iron, go have ice cream, whatever it is. Just get away from that thing that you just wrote down and come back after you've had a chance to have a fresh perspective, and just get oxygen flowing in your brain, and then come back and you'll see it differently, and
Hmm.
it will allow you to then pick better what you're going to do. And then I would just double dog dare them to tell somebody that they're going to do one of those things, and have somebody like be their encouragement to get it done.
I
And
love
then
it. Yeah, I had
see if, yeah, if that doesn't change everything.
hmm. Yeah, I had a coach. She wrote a book called "What Do You Really Want?" But one of her steps in the process of figuring out what you really want is to write down everything that's not working for you right now.
Mhm.
And so anytime I'm like super annoyed, I just like will write down every single thing that's not working for me. And honestly, just doing that makes me so much less annoyed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It gets it.
I'm just like,
It takes the emotion out, and it brings the
yeah.
pressure down. And we self-talk all the time. And so you're talking to yourself, and it's like you're constantly distracted. So you can't get anything done. I think I can't remember where the study was, but I think it talked about executives lose about 30% of their time to just spinning wheels and thinking
Oh,
like
I
that.
believe it.
Yeah. And so it makes us unproductive. And if you are an entrepreneur and you're on your own and you wear all the hats in the organization, everything depends on you, then you can create a chaotic load that is just debilitating. And so you have to do those things. You have to write it down and get some perspective, or get the negative list out so you can be positive, that type of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, because it's like I don't know, you like can spin yourself up in your brain. So you just have,
Mhm.
to me, it's like the act of just like writing out and being like, I don't like this, and I'm mad at that, and then,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, none of this was a big deal. Whatever. Bye.
Yeah, you do get perspective, right? And that's the key, is what
Mhm.
we need, is perspective a lot of times. And
Right?
that's why they say as you get older, and like with my ninth child, my older children will go, "You are so laid back." I'm like, "Yeah, I figured it out by now."
You're like, yeah,
So,
I've done. This is my
Yeah,
ninth time around.
yeah. But
Okay.
I'm like going, those things I stressed out over you guys, nah, they're not a big deal. We're gonna relax and we'll make our way. And they're like, wow, I should have been a kid the last one. I'm like, so sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah. My kids, they're only 2 years apart. So I have three, but one's my stepdaughter. I only have two that I birthed, but yeah, they sometimes be like, you did this or you used to do that. I'm like, yeah, things change. People change.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That two
That's
years
funny.
mattered.
Yeah, that's funny.
So where can people connect with you, especially if they want to help with Anchor Point and they want to get involved?
Sure. If they'd like to learn more about Anchor Point, it is anchorpoint.us. And I always like to tell people one of the fun things that they could do is they could be a part of our 911 text prayer team so that when we have girls that are in crisis and anything, then they can just get a text and they can start praying.
I
It's
love
a
it.
great way, no matter where you live. And it's super there. It's up at the top bar. You can find it on there and just all the social media handles are there, everything. So that's a great way to get to know us.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Debbie, for being with us today and sharing your powerful story of taking your pain and making it your purpose. I've been delighted by this conversation. And this has been Pretty Smart Business, and we'll catch you all next time.